Acting President, I'm proud to stand today and speak in support of the Enabling Offshore Wind Energy Bill, delivering clean energy, massive international investment into Victoria and thousands upon thousands of jobs. 9 gigawatts here in Victoria means that these jobs will be seen for decades to come, and that's why we're putting in place the targets, supporting the investment and the training to ensure that generations of Victorians get to work in this industry. It's the investment alone in Eastern Victoria, in my region of Eastern Victoria, we're talking $40 to $60 billion in renewables. As I said, thousands of jobs. This is not an accident. This comes from years and years of work to set the framework to enable this to happen, that will bring the competitive investment, that will see, as I've said, a workforce able to depend on this work for a long time to come. We know that we need to deliver clean energy, and I've spoken in this place before about what our changing climate, increasing 0.2, 0.3 degrees every decade for the last 6-7 decades. We're seeing ice melt, we're seeing record temperatures. Last year, we're looking at about 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels of the 1800s. The atmospheric change that sees that moisture trapped into the atmosphere, creating weather events that we are seeing more regularly that are impacting on our quality of life, that are impacting on our farmers, impacting us when we go to the grocery store, impacting on insurance bills. The insurance bills are continuing to rise, and the real threat of whether it be sea level rise or other impacts of climate change, making buildings either uninsurable, or banks are already signalling that they will not be willing to loan against them. This is why we are acting. We have identified the science behind the issues, and our values align with dealing with those issues to ensure the quality of life for all Victorians, because that's what being in this place is about. It's about delivering for all Victorians. So, to enable those values into place, we've set our targets, and we have our targets of 95% renewable energy by 2035, as Mrs MacArthur rightly pointed out in her contribution. And this sits in our goal to have a net zero emissions by 2045. We've been through, as Mr Davis pointed out, in our decade of government, we have worked our way through energy efficiency. We have taken the low-hanging fruit, energy efficiency, why we set the renewable energy targets that enabled our energy auctions, 600 megawatts, where, again, that competitive bidding in to build the energy infrastructure we need has been rolled out. We've supported homeowners through solar homes in that energy efficiency, inputting that solar hot water units on their homes. Because despite the opposition wanting to say that, oh, the economics of renewables don't add up, homeowners can see it adds up, and that's why they're doing it. It makes financial sense. Because who would have thought when you've got a free resource like the sun or the wind, it costs you less to produce energy? It's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And I will come in my contribution to the radical ideology of those opposite and why they can't accept basic economics, or why they can't accept that renewables are affordable, and that's why community is taking them up. So we are already at 40% renewable energy penetration into our grid. We have batteries going into our grid. We have a 6 gigawatt battery target. And again, those opposite will laugh, like they've laughed for the last 2.5 decades, but we are getting on delivering it. And every year, more renewables are going into the grid, and we'll be standing here in a few years to come and we'll be hitting 50%, and still they'll keep laughing, and still they will keep blaming renewables all the way through. We're supporting. They don't get it. They don't get it. We are supporting various sectors of our economy, whether it's individuals or business. We're setting the frameworks, we're putting in place the grants to ensure that we can get to our goal of net zero emissions. Whether it's electric vehicles, which I'm sure will bring the laugh. Yep, Miss MacArthur's laughing right on cue. We're assisting with well, Mrs MacArthur, I just said 40% of the grid, more than 40% of the grid is renewable, and it continues to grow. So that's why you need to walk and chew gum. You lot can't even walk without tripping over your own feet and having internal blues. We can walk and chew gum, setting up the infrastructure that Victoria needs now and well into the future. And in the region of Eastern Victoria, our EV fast charging infrastructure through Malakuta, Buchan, Lakes Entrance, Bruthen, Paynesville, Maffra, Hayfield, Foster, Murbu North, Meenian, Leongatha, Curramborough, Lock, Flinders, Rosebud, Portsea, Bairnsdale, Sale and Yarram is supporting people in the community to move to electric vehicles, and those opposite, no doubt, will sit there and laugh and they say, and they'll just watch, you know, penetration into the market grow and grow, and it's just like renewables, the same thing will happen. And with the circular economy, we're making the investments. Just yesterday, Minister for Environment Steve Dimopoulos opened a $2.5 million recycling plant in Tottenham that turns hard-to-recycle items into concrete material, so we're using it for construction. The soft plastics, he's done similar things around lithium-ion processing for Stawell and Camberfield. Jobs in all of these facilities. In Eastern Victoria, we've got Alexum recycling solar panels. And of course, just on the circular economy, we've got the much-loved recycling program, which has seen 120 million containers recycled, supporting community fundraising and a whole range of other things. And I'm really glad that Minister Tierney is here present, because Minister Tierney has put the focus on training. When a massive new industry is coming and thousands of workers are needed, you have to train the industry, and that's exactly what we're doing. And Ms Irma Cora commented on the investment in Western Victoria. It's happening in Eastern Victoria. We're investing in our TAFEs because we fundamentally believe in TAFEs, in training people, ensuring they have the skills that our industry want and need. And that is a massive part of that. We hear it over and over again from industry that they're going to need the workers. They're going to need so many workers to deliver this massive program. And I spoke about it before, that 9 gigawatts. That 9 gigawatts to provide that clean energy, but the thousands and thousands of jobs that will come with it. And it all sits within decentralising our power grid, supporting local communities to have more control, more security and cheaper energy. And across Eastern Victoria, I talk to communities at the end of the line who do want that energy security when the weather events that are becoming more severe and more frequent, that is a result of climate change, which is what we're trying to prevent occurring more and more. When their transmission lines are knocked down, they want to have the backup in there. That's why we're getting batteries in. That's why we're getting renewables in. We're ensuring in times of disaster, there are hubs a community that can go to, and like all the other services, they can get energy because it's so critical. And renewables are cheaper. I commented before, and homeowners know it's cheaper. But report after report is showing that it's cheaper, and of course those opposite do not want to listen to it. They don't want to hear it. There is so much that we are doing on this side, whether it's looking to decarbonise our transport industry, our energy industry, our agriculture, everything, our waste, that circular economy, everything that feeds into it, it sits within our goals because we have the values, we identify the problem, and we set the plan, the policies in place to achieve our goals. Whereas those opposite are radically opposed to renewables. You are ideologically opposed to it in every fibre of your being. And it doesn't make any sense. The economics don't make sense. What our communities want and need, it doesn't make sense. What voters tell us the action they want on climate change doesn't make sense. But as we see with the Liberals, they're more interested in getting pre-selection from their local branches than what they are about representing the economic interests of Victoria or the societal interests of our community when people go to the ballot boxes. So don't worry about what voters say. Don't worry about what markets say. Ignore the economics. Ignore the community. I mean, I don't know what Menzies would think if he walked in here. Probably about the same as what Dr. Barks thought when he walked out of here. But the biggest risk to investment and jobs is the coalition. Make no mistake. The Liberal Party is the absolutely biggest risk that we face to these thousands and thousands of jobs and $billions of investment. They are threatening to rip it all up. It doesn't matter whether you look at the state or the federal sphere, the same ideological drive that's been within the party and within their members for the last 25 years is absolutely there. It's like, as I said, there are no values, there are no policies, and there are no plans. There is no idea. It is just no, no, no. And that is why the Liberal Party is not fit to govern in this century. This century, we are seeing technological changes occur quicker. Well, thank you, my colleague pointing out they're not ever fit to, but particularly as technology is changing quicker and quicker. We can't afford to have technophobes in government. So, and whilst on this side, state and federally, we want Australian-made. We want security in our energy and manufacturing, for that matter. We want the security of our economics. Those opposite are absolutely against it. Whether it's our new industries of hydrogen, renewables, the tens and thousands of jobs that come with all this, you're absolutely against it and ignore the opportunity. And while America are investing, $500 billion, Canada are investing, Europe are setting up tariff walls that we won't be able to export our goods into if we don't meet these emission standards. Again, vehicles coming into this country, you would rather have us sit with Russia having people pay more for fuel, one of two countries in the developed world, 75% of cars in the world meet equivalent standards, the US, New Zealand, wherever. You would rather have people pay more for fuel and run scare campaigns, which industry have come out and pushed aside, so the Liberals have been left standing on their own yet again. You would rather do that than see an advance for our society that is for the betterment of everyone. You would rather stand ideologically opposed. And the same comes to farmers looking to diversify their income from renewables. I just don't understand why you want to put barriers and red tape between farmers being able to produce and export electricity. This is great income for them, but you want to stop it. You'd prefer to go in and frack the water and the land of farmers than have them export energy. It's like coming back to electric vehicles. You'd rather import fuel from Russia. You'd rather have a fuel that our businesses and citizens rely on so dramatically to get around. You'd rather that be at the risk of geopolitics, of price shocks, of money going overseas, than Aussie jobs and Aussie generation keeping money here in this country and in this state. And it just points to the continual, I know it sounds cliche, but the no-alition. No, no, no. It's just no plan, nothing happened. It's like under Baillieu and nap time. Nothing happened. 4 years, doesn't matter who you spoke to, this government stood still and watched others go by. And sadly, those standing to be the alternative government, the only thing they've got on their plate now is nuclear. That is it. Their party room has gone nuclear. Their energy policy has gone nuclear. They've got leaders in this building. They all want to have a vie at it. There's ex-leaders, current leaders, future leaders. The one thing they've got in common is their hatred for renewables and their passion for nuclear energy. So tell us, opposition, you want to be in government, where do you want the reactors, where do you want the waste, and what's going to happen in the 20-odd years that it takes to build these things? Tell the communities of Anglesea, tell the communities of Morwell, John Pesciuto or whoever the next leader might be, stand up and tell Victorians what you believe in, what you stand in and where you're going to build your nuclear reactors. Thank you.